Hey, welcome back to another episode of the Life Insurance Academy podcast. I'm back in studio with my good friends and business partners, Chris Ball, Zach McElwain.
Good morning.
To be back with you guys.
It's great to be here.
I'm so I like the setup in here. This new setup that we're working off.
It's nice.
Feels comfortable.
It feels
my
like
neck's not hurting all the time. You know,
That's right. That's right.
That makes a difference. That's for sure.
Yeah.
So
Today we're jumping into in this episode we're jumping into what where a lot of people fail out in the business. They fail out in the first 30 days because they actually never get started properly. So I would say, if we're going to give this a title, what you need to consider to be successful in the first 30 days of life insurance sales.
yeah. And
What does that look like?
Well, first of all, I would say if you're in the car, you're riding around, or you're sitting at home, or you're getting ready to make dials, or you pause to
You
listen
mean
to
right
this
now
call.
while they're listening?
I'm talking about listening right now.
Okay.
And if they have anybody at all that they're looking at bringing on to this business, or thinking about or considering it, or they have anybody just now onboarding or contracting, or even thinking about taking their license test,
Or if they themselves are.
or you need to pause right now. You need to get all of them on this episode, and you probably need to listen to it together, because this is going to get real here on why people fail, and what areas do they fail, and what they need to do in order to get through the gauntlet of the first 30 days and be successful in life insurance.
Maybe we call it failure to launch.
That's really kind of a cool title.
I think someone made a movie about that.
Yes.
Was Matthew McConaughey in that
Yeah,
one?
he was.
Yeah.
He was. Not that I know. It's
Yeah.
one of those rom-coms. I don't watch those because
You have his poster in your office, don't you?
You have a poster of him, dude. And
Yeah.
every photo.
People are going to get the wrong idea.
I know you had one. You had one when you were a teenager of him.
Yeah, it was. but
Actually, you're the
who's-
same age.
I think we are the same.
Yeah.
age.
Yeah.
I.
I mean, you look like brothers, in fact. All right, let's jump back in. So, failure to launch. We were talking about, before we went on the air, about where we were going to start with that.
Yeah.
Zach said, I think we should start with the people after they pass their test.
I do, and I believe that state license test, to be exact, because they're not even licensed to be able to solicit or write business, period. So I feel like your insurance journey begins once you pass the test, because us as trainers, IMOs, team leaders, we can't do anything without that. The ball's not in our court.
Right.
And your opinion was?
My opinion is we need to back it up, because if you've seen the business, or you've got someone who's taken a look at the business and they want to get started, they're processing a decision to get engaged. I'm taking action to move forward, so I'm going to go ahead and register for my pre-license course. Whether you're going in person or you're doing it online, you're now in the motion of doing that. And I think a ton of people fail out right there in that pre-license testing because they don't prioritize it. Chris, you fought hard to say, no, we need to put it in front of the test.
Yes.
Zach was like, no, we just need to talk to people who passed the test. Why do you feel like people are bailing out right there?
I think the reason we're seeing that is because they give themselves way too much runway on taking the test. Their deadline is, well, they don't have a deadline in some cases.
Whose fault's that?
That's their fault.
Because if we keep taking this thing back, guys, we could literally take it back to the initial opportunity was presented, the initial overview, the initial interview, and somebody not setting an expectations of what it's going to take to get through the course.
Well,
Correct.
and that might be true. So we want to be the people who come along today. You've said get on the call, like get on this.
If they're all
podcast.
on,
Yeah.
they're all listening now. You went and rounded them up. You pressed
Yes.
pause. Now you're back in. Now we're here.
We want to give you this expectation that you should take your test within a week.
Correct. Of when you
Within a
start
week
studying.
Of when you start.
Yeah.
Because that junk will just drip out your ear. That's what will happen. You will not retain the information. You'll keep putting it off, and all of a sudden it's not important to you, and you're just going to stop.
Simply communicate the stakes.
Yeah.
Communicate the stakes of
Look at you.
what would happen if they moved through, focused on, got the test, crammed the information, took the test. Not going to use that anyways. After you get your license, we're going to teach you everything you need to know now. But you set the expectation for workflow, for work ethic, and you're seeing if they can even listen or teachable.
Yes.
Or you're going to hear of how many excuses and that they're going to end up making to do that.
Yeah.
I had a very similar story. I mean, when I was brought on years ago, Roger's like, yeah, everybody gets it done in a week. So depending on how long it takes you, it'll let me know what type of worker you are. I'm like, oh yeah, and then
That's right. See, words matter.
within
do.
within a week, no lie, within a week, I had mine passed and done, and I did the online course, which it was, from what I heard afterwards, it was a lot more difficult because you literally have to learn every ounce of everything to pass every module to then take the test. In the in-class, most cases, they just teach you only thing you need to know to pass the test. So after that, I found out that other people take 2 weeks, 3 weeks to get it through.
Right.
And Rose even told me it took Roger 2 weeks. And
What?
I'm like, oh, yeah. Yeah.
2 weeks.
But like
gonna have to
Not on the
revisit
first
that.
one because I went to class. It was 3 days.
3
And
days.
then I took the test the next week. Now, on my health, when I went back for health, I did
Yeah.
study that whole course, and I scheduled my test for 2 weeks later.
Oh, got it. Okay.
Yeah, but I do agree, and I thank you for that, because it matters on how you're approaching this opportunity, because this is literally is an opportunity to change your life. This is a career choice. This is a profession. This isn't a job that you're going to show up to and say, okay, Chris, now what? Do you want me to start at the cash register, or do you want me to go in the back? Like, it's not like that. So
I like that guy.
You just got a job at Target.
I think so.
Am I on cash? Am
But
I on cash?
I think some
Am I
people
stocking shelves?
are entering the opportunity with an employee mindset, and they're waiting to be told what to do.
Well,
Some cases.
and one of the reasons why they may not be successful or may be frustrated in their job or career that they have now, or in how much money they're making, is because naturally they're procrastinators
Yeah.
and they don't want to admit it to themselves. So now they're going to get a job where they're in control of their own time, so they can say they're in their own business for themselves, and then they can't get through the dang test.
Yeah.
Like, would I be wrong in saying that people who take more than 2 weeks, because I know some people are working, like some people work 7 days
Roger,
on, 7 days
I will
off.
tell you
like-
though, I worked full time. I was working over 40 hours a week. I had my sister's wedding that I was going to be performing a portion of the week of the test that I had scheduled, and
Yeah.
I only had 1 day I could take the test.
You were the operatic singer in her wedding, right?
Ave Maria, baby, that's my jam. But
Ave Maria. Okay, go ahead.
in
I bet it
Kentucky,
was
it's Ave Maria. But dude, it was like I told my family, I love you guys, but don't knock on the door. Like,
Yeah.
please,
Yeah,
don't.
because I got to
Like,
get through this.
I have to get through this. For
Oh,
this week, I have to get through this.
same for me. I was working 3 jobs, and getting wedding plans together.
Oh, yeah.
like literally in.
You did not marry my sister, though, just so everybody knows that those two events were not connected.
No, they weren't. They were
Okay,
not
good,
connected
good.
yet.
But you do sing opera in his office regularly.
Every once in a while.
He does. He
Yes.
does. But I remember literally doing all of that, and I only had a few hours each night, and I'm literally sleeping in the chair with my
Yes.
iPad, reading these courses and passing these mini exams. So, yeah, I agree with you, Chris. I'm not going through what we went through to get licensed in the time frame. It's amazing the amount of excuses, and I'm sure, guys, we could pull the data.
We love you.
We have
We
all
love
the
you.
Well,
data.
here's what I was going to say. Would you guys think that this is a number that's close to being accurate? That about 85% of the people who do not complete their test from the time they start, 2 weeks, if they don't get it done
2
inside of
weeks?
2 weeks, what do you think their success rate? Do you think it's greater or less than like 5% success rate if it goes beyond 2
If
weeks
I'm-
in the industry?
No,
Not just even passing the test, but in the dang industry.
Roger, I would argue that probably 80%, if it takes you longer than 2 weeks to pass it, that you never get contracted with any insurance company, period.
Yeah, like the
Literally.
numbers drop off dramatically.
Yeah.
Because it's a personal motivation.
They don't
it's a
want to
desire.
commit
It's
to
a
the
work
time.
ethic.
They don't want to put it in.
Right.
And
Yeah.
then guess what they're doing over that 2 weeks? Oh, man, this stuff, I
happened,
don't
this
understand this. Well,
And
I
then
think
their
I'm going to
friends
get a
invite
job
them
over
away
here.
for the weekend. Something happened to their
It
car.
is a qualifier in a way.
Yeah, it
Yeah,
is a qualifier.
sure.
So if you're listening and you got people that are doing this to you, you're trying to hire people, trying to get your agency started, you're looking at bringing people on, and they're doing that, use that process of them going through, getting their pre-license done, sitting for the state test and passing that. Use that as a filter, as a qualifier. Don't put a lot of emotional weight into anybody until they come out the other side of that. Because if they're going to burn through 10 days, there's 10 days of the first 30. So now we got 20 days left.
Yeah. Step 1, set expectations.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And when I talk to new agents, I do talk about this launch is a really good word, you know, because it is like you're launching your rocket. We've talked about this in the podcast before, but you're trying, you know, the goal of the rocket is to reach a destination. And it may be, you know, for astronauts, they're going to the moon or they're going to the space station. But there's this force that they have to fight, and it's gravity. And the thing that makes it work is fuel, burning fuel to get out of orbit to get into orbit or whatever it is to break gravity.
Unfortunately,
right?
most people right now in this generation are trying to conserve fuel on
That's
everything.
Well, here's the thing. Can you imagine, like, the engineers? They're like, okay, we're launching this rocket. You guys are going to get to the space station, but honestly, we're going to try and save some money. So we're
We're
putting,
going to try to do it on the minimum amount of fuel
Yeah,
possible.
we're gonna put in
only
half
gonna
a
put in the
tank.
minimum amount of gas.
yeah, we're going to put in half. We're going to fill it up halfway, and you guys have to, figure it out. Figure out how you're going to get to the space station.
Yeah, if you don't get off the ground with that, you're screwed. So, yeah.
But that's how people approach this, and
Yeah.
I don't know the mindset. Many times, like I said, and you said, they're built-in procrastinators. Or I have seen people with great work ethics, like they were working at UPS 80 hours a week. They hated it, and now they're their own boss, and they don't take action.
They can't get through it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they're just so used to somebody telling them what to do every day.
Correct.
It's sad. It's unfortunate.
All right. So we've burned through the first 10 days, maybe 2 weeks.
Right.
After that, you can jump off the podcast if you're taking longer than that. Now you can go. Okay. All right. Are you gone? Great. Okay.
The
For
rest of
people,
you.
people who have stayed on, this is the remaining. 14 to 20 days. What's the priorities here, guys?
Number one is understanding that you have been away from a job or you have taken energy away from a job of some capacity to get your license, to get your test. Our goal at the end of all of this should be and is to then make a profit and make money. And the only way we can do that is to start your contracting with your carrier appointments as soon as you possibly can, because some of them can take 2 days, some of them can take 2 weeks before you even get the ability to write business. On the other side of that, some are just-in-time contracting, or you get that contract right away, meaning they don't even finish your full contracting until you write your first piece of business. Then they do a full background check. Then they make sure that you're approved. Then they approve your policy that you've already written. Then you get paid on it.
Mm-hmm.
So understanding that no matter what, the very next step, the very next priority is to make sure that you have your all of your contracting in line, ready to be submitted to the carriers with the group that you're working with, and get that in and processed, because that will take time that you do not have control over.
You need errors and omissions insurance for some of these carriers.
Yes.
You gotta get that policy. You gotta get the certificate for that. You got to have your ID, your checks for your checking account, where your money's going to be deposited. Like, they've got to set you up so that you can be registered with that particular company, not just with the group you're with, but with the company that group represents.
Yes.
So if you've got 5 or 6 companies that they're contracting you with, you need to be prepared to deliver the information that they need so they can actually appoint you. And not until you're appointed can you solicit for an application, take one, process it, get it approved, then get paid. A lot of people think, okay, I'm through the test. I'm getting my contracting done now. I should have a paycheck by Friday.
Yeah.
What does that look like in reality?
I mean, it could be 2 weeks. You still could be 2 weeks away, right?
Yeah.
And so
That's if you're on it.
Yeah. There's a level of urgency. Then that's the key, is on it, is a level of urgency. And sometimes, you'll see an agent who's like, well, yeah, I'll get to that one later. I've got some other, the excuses start to fly for whatever reason. I mean, you're just looking for some signatures, man. That's it.
That's it.
Come on.
Can you read an email?
Yeah.
Follow the email trail and answer the questions that they're asking you for to get yourself
Urgency. You have to
contracted.
move with urgency.
And the minute you submit it, you took 3 or 4 days procrastinating, and then the minute you submit it, then you call the next day to say, when am I getting my appointments?
Yes.
Like, how much does
We've
that
got-
happen? Like, we've been
gotten
through
those
all of that,
calls.
right?
Yes.
So people, I didn't see the email. A week later, we send 3 reminders, right? And then they get
you
a
send
process.
that email again?
Yeah, you process it, and then 2 days later, they're saying, I need to get appointed. I need to make money. Like, we've been trying to get you through this for 3 weeks. Like, that first 30 days is important for you to have a sense of urgency, to stay on it, to get appointed. What else? So we're in that. We're getting contracted. What else do they need to do in that first, in the remaining 20 days?
Well, I would say just take a portion of a day to meet with your coach or your mentor, your team lead, and identify what your expectations are of what this next group of days is going to look like. That would be a training schedule. That would be whatever type or line of insurance that you're in, whatever training is available. Let them know what your financial situation looks like, because that is
And
one
your
of the-
expectations, what your
Yeah,
expectations
exactly,
are. Yeah,
because
needs are.
they will know more because they've been in the business, they've experienced it, and that was one of the biggest miscommunications that I face with new agents coming on, because by the time they open their mouth to say, I can't buy leads, I can't do this, I can't do that, I can't pay my rent, matter of fact, I can't do anything, it's like when it's already too late. Like if you know that up front, like, hey, I have these things coming up, this is what I need to hit, is this possible, what do I need to do that? It creates an understanding across everybody. So I would say definitely set up that expectations meeting or what you want to accomplish, because it puts everybody in line. For one, the agent, they are looking at this opportunity, but most likely in this industry, they're looking at the people that have built $1 million teams in short periods of time, people that have sold an ungodly amount personally in their own pen, people that have changed their life in 3 months. They don't see the work and the grind and the effort that those people have put in order to get there. So a lot of people moving into this industry, they don't understand the relationship between time and money. They want to put no time in and make a lot of money, right? And so understanding how do we get to that point, and there's an action plan to get there, is going to be very important. So this is all wrapped in one conversation with a mentor that you trust, or a team, or an IMO that has your best interest and wants you to help you achieve your goals.
And I want to say this, like you may have gotten the business with a friend of yours that just started a month ago or 2 weeks ago, and they're just 2 weeks ahead of you. So it's not that person that you need to have the conversation with.
Right.
Yes.
Because they may be bringing you to the business because of the IMOs, because of the opportunity to grow and scale an agency. So they may be bringing you to the business. But please know that they're not going to have the answers at that point.
Yes.
But someone in that organization does. And you need to get with those people to find out your strategy.
With
and
urgency.
You can't have it always filter through the people
Right.
that are there. Get to the people that are providing the training platform so that you can get the information that you need as an independent contractor, if you're working as an independent broker in life sales, so that you can figure out what those next steps are from the people who are providing it.
And this is the next stage where people fall out. One is they don't pass the license test. Two is they never get contracting done, and then they delay, and then they need money, and they're like, hey, I just submitted my contract yesterday. When's that going to come back? I need money now. That's unrealistic. That's not going to happen. Three is they never have this important conversation, and nobody knows what the game plan is. Their expectations are to the moon in 2 weeks, right? And nobody knows that. And now they don't sell their first lead. The first phone call that they dial doesn't answer.
Yeah.
Now they're already in a stressful period.
They get one chargeback. And this is the stage because of expectations, which this is all avoidable by just having a simple conversation and leading a person and find out where they are and where they want to go. So many people fall out because of that, and they get disappointed. They have unmet expectations when all that needed to be is just tweaked slightly.
Yeah. I think that's really good, Zach. And I think another expectation that's very important, that the leader, because I think there are some people who are listening who are just getting started, but there's other people, and you brought your people on here. As a leader, you need to set the expectation that the agent who's coming on board takes ownership of their training.
Mm-hmm.
That is so important, because I think some people come in, and because of the environments or where they've worked before, I'll give you an illustration. They kind of sit in like they're in a high chair, and they're waiting for you to spoon feed them. Like,
Or
hey,
they walk
this
in,
is-
they sit in the back, they don't
Yeah.
ask any questions, and they're expecting to get all the information.
feed me. Feed me. Nom, nom, nom. I don't like peas,
Great.
right?
Oh my God.
But it's true.
I just imagined you as a
true.
huge baby.
It's true,
With
man.
a big bib.
I'm telling you, it's true. Because Roger, when you shared this with me, I took it seriously, and I said I wasn't going to go out. I wasn't going to eat lunch until I got a nap because I didn't want my kids to feel hungry. Right? That's how seriously I took it.
Yeah.
So I went home, and you didn't tell me to do this. At least I went. Maybe you did. But I made flashcards of different health issues. I made flashcards of tobacco, non-tobacco, of like profiles of the clients that we would be sitting with, and my wife would act that out, which was really weird. But I did it because
Whatever you're into, man.
Yeah. Oh man, so many jokes. But I I took ownership of that because I wanted to be successful.
Yeah.
I had to do that.
Yeah.
I had to.
Take an initiative, man. It's so crucial. There's so many agents that are like, hey, when you going to teach me about the products?
Yeah.
You know, or
You never told me.
when's the training going to start? You know, and again, all that is avoidable.
Yes.
But at some level, you're right. They have to take ownership. I mean, the very next stage is to start diving in and learning everything you need to learn for your specific niche of insurance that you're going to start with.
Correct.
You know, and I would recommend highly that whatever, if it's going to be final expense, or it's going to be MP, or it's going to be MP face-to-face or over the phone, whatever one you start with, figure that out. And I always say, if you're going to change something, master it, then change. Don't change or switch it up when you failed at something. Like, figure out why you failed, find the solution, master it, then switch.
Yeah.
And it will always gain you so much more experience. But immediately start training. Here's one major tip that I tell everybody when they're onboarding with us. At this point, you should be, and I tell them this even when they're going through pre-licensing, and you guys can as well, get plugged into the Life Insurance Academy podcast immediately.
That's an easy first step.
Immediately. It doesn't.
And it's only what, $100 a month to listen.
For the premium channel, which we have never launched.
Right. But
So it's all free, people.
It's all free.
everybody, personal friends, people, like, you know, hey, first thing you're thinking about insurance. I want to show you our plan. I want to show you our business model. But to get a really good feel of this industry or how it works, check out the Life Insurance Academy podcast and just start listening. That's going to be one of the best and easiest training tools for you, because most of the time, Chris, these people are still have their 2 weeks in, or they're working at another job. They can put their AirPod in, or they're working from home, and they can start gaining this training and this knowledge immediately.
Yeah.
I remember when I first got started, I got contracted with 2 carriers. They're going to get a shout out right now. American Amicable Life, United Home Life. American Amicable is out of Waco, Texas. American Amicable, Occidental. There's several companies there under one umbrella.
Pioneer.
And then there's United Home Life, United Farm Family Life out of Indianapolis. And when I got contracted with them, I got a welcome email. That welcome email gave me instructions. Not only did that give me instructions on how to log into their website and access their training portal, American Amicable sent me a box, and that box had a folder of every one of their products, the brochure, an underwriting guide, a product guide, a pricing sheet, how to do this, how to do that. I remember sitting in at my dining room table in my house and literally dissecting every one of those and learning them. Am I going to need to know this? This product I think is going to be very important. This one maybe not so much. And I dove in. I started understanding how the process worked.
Did you wait for permission to do that?
Heck no.
Roger,
No,
can I
man.
read? Can I read some pamphlets? Is that okay? Do you
Yeah. Or it's showing up. Can you guys send me some stuff? Like, call a carrier.
Yeah.
Like, get engaged. It's your business.
How many years
people.
ago was that?
Your business. Your
11,
business.
11 years
12,
ago?
Yeah.
This might blow some minds. That still happens today. They still send all of those welcome emails. And here's even better.
They send
Everyone,
welcome emails. Yes, they do.
all of these carriers, they now have full-blown websites or full training platforms with videos, with pamphlets, and even self-support phone numbers. You literally can just call and sit in your car and just ask all the questions till you're blue in your face.
There's webinars. There's pre-recorded webinars on all the carrier websites. I know Forrester's has a whole suite of those available on all their products. Americo has agentcafe.com.
that's
You
a
can
great
go
site.
there and find out theirs and start learning and dive in, taking ownership of your own training. You can't rely on someone else. Yes, get engaged with what the training program is,
Right.
but you got to take that step of taking ownership as well.
So, and it's so funny, guys, because you will have another agent who's like, man, I'm taking notes. I'm going to do that. I'm going to do all of this, and I'm going to read all those emails and do all those videos before I ever write an application. So it's this fine line, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like, man, you got to do the thing. You got to do the thing to have the power. It's no way around it. So you processors and overthinkers, do that. Read
Dude, I
your
need you to
pamphlets.
make me a shirt that says that. And that's it. Just do the thing and you'll have the power.
Do the thing
Yeah.
and you'll have the power.
yeah, maybe
right?
we should make them like
So
LIA shirts.
you
There go.
overthinkers, you don't have to know everything. You need to know enough. You need to know why the drill matters, right? If
Yeah.
you got to sell the hole. So you need to know those features and benefits of the carriers. So
You're exactly right.
yeah, but you just need to know enough to take action. That's the important part.
So understand your products, understand your carriers, start from day one, get acclimated with the carrier websites, how to write the apps, all the videos and trainings there for you, even if you're not in a situation or an IMO or a group that provides any additional training beyond that, it's all available. Everything you need to make a lot of money in this business is right there at your fingertips.
One or two more things, and we'll wrap. We're
Okay.
running out of time on this one. You've now gotten engaged, right? You've gotten through your pre-license course. For those of you that stayed on, at least you committed to finishing, and are listening still. You've gotten your contracting done. You had a sense of urgency of getting through that. You've had those next step conversations about training and onboarding expectation. That conversation of what this looks like. Where do I go to get plugged into a community mentor group? But you've also taken ownership, right? And you started to self-train on product knowledge, how to process an application, how the e-apps work. And now you're going to engage in starting. And this is, again, going to where you said the over processors. You actually got to actually launch the thing. You've got to push the boat out into the water. Otherwise, all these other things is still a boat tied up to the dock, and you've still failed to
It
launch.
looks like it's going to float.
It looks like it's going to float. It looks like it smells right. It looks pretty. The sun is shining. There's a little wind. The sails are there, but it's still just tied up. And if you wait for everything to be perfect, you'll never launch. Now you got to jump into leads, right? You got to get yourself some leads.
Yes.
And you've got to start the process. You've got to get some appointments, and you've got to do your first presentation. Those are going to be in a sequence depending on your area of business, whether it's final expense, mortgage protection, whether you're selling health insurance, whatever it is. You got to go through that process and try to accelerate that process as quickly as possible so that inside of that first 30 days, you've not only completed the entire cycle, right? Self-training, leads, appointments, presentations, applications, but you've actually gotten a deposit in.
Yeah.
The people who are going to successfully make it in this business are receiving deposit inside of 30 days into their bank account.
Yes.
They see the system working. If you do not do that inside of 30 days, you've got about a 1% chance of making it.
Yeah, Roger, I know a lot of people are different types of learners as well. I mean, so there's so many different personalities and ways people learn. One thing, if it's available to you, try to see it in action. You know, watch somebody, get on a call session, ride in somebody's car,
Right.
see it done, that you can see how the flow is and it pieces it all together if you're more of a visual hands-on. If you don't have that available, simply, and I'm not just saying this as a sales pitch, but subscribe to Life Insurance Academy. Literally, we have videos of how to do the presentation. Heck, you get involved with our coaching programs. We'll walk you through how to do it. We can do one-on-one sessions with you to make sure it's going the way it's supposed to. Heck, you can even get on call sessions with us. I mean, it's available. All you have to do is reach out and ask. But I will always say, no matter what, experience is the number one teacher.
100%.
And until you get out there and knock on the door, until you pick up that phone, until you do something on your own, you're not, like, I don't care how much time you could spend 3 years practicing all the materials and
Right.
doing all this, and we can get an agent launched in 30 days, and he'll be more successful than the guy spent in 3 years studying.
And I would say the ones who are having the most success are probably seeing those first deposits inside of 3 weeks. I wouldn't even go to a month.
Yeah.
Right.
Because they're moving through that with some speed, some expectation, with some urgency. They're plugged in. And if you're with a group that's doing face-to-face sales, arrange to get in someone's car so you can shadow that person doing that. Watch somebody who knows what they're doing it, and then say, I want to try. I want to do it on my own. You know, if there's someone that will go with you while you're doing it on your own, fantastic. If that's available to you, we make that available, and we'll connect you with a group that can do that if you want that. If you're doing phone sales, get on the phone, watch somebody make appointments, watch somebody do the sales process, watch them complete the application to see how that works, shadow them, and then you got to do it immediately after that. You got to take action.
Immediately.
Check yourself into the game.
Check in. Yeah. Be ready to come off the bench and get in. You're not going to have it all right. You know, everything's not going to feel great when you first start, but the people who have a sense of urgency that move through those steps will launch. So I think the first 30 days in life insurance sales, if you're not already seeing deposits, you got less than 1% chance of making it. So,
And if you're that person and you're on here, you better pick up the phone. Like, you better reach out to somebody and have a conversation, because you're playing you're playing a game. You're not in a business. You're
Yeah.
playing a game if you haven't gotten
If you're a manager, a team leader, aspiring to grow, I hope this helps you to understand where agents fall out.
Yeah.
Remember, you were once in their shoes.
That's
you
right.
understand how you felt. And we've seen people come in and out. So if this helps you to be aware of these, maybe some of the gaps in your onboarding process or your training or just the expectation conversation, start implementing that and you'll see some big results.
You can, team, you can reach out to us. You know us. You can follow us on all the social media at Life Insure Acad, Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn. You can find us at lifeinsuranceacademy.org. Our podcast, if you're listening on Spotify or Apple or one of the other podcast platforms, can be found at its own website at liapodcast.org. You can see us there. You can get all the show notes to every episode. There's links, there's giveaways, there's downloads, there's free tools that we can give you access to there. And if you want to reach out to us directly and connect, you can message us on any of the social platforms where we are, or you can send a direct text to 502-837-9813, 502-837-9813. Hit us up with a message, and we'll be happy to get back to you and point you in the right direction. Thanks so much, guys, for listening to this episode of the Life Insurance Academy podcast. We want nothing but your success. Go make it a great day and be a difference maker in someone's life today. Thanks for listening.